Eliciting from pictures.
Pictures are the easiest way to elicit a particular item, especially if a word lends itself to visual representation. Use pictures whenever you can, but be aware if the students need hints or help, or if the picture itself is a little ambiguous.
So let's take a look at this example. A teacher wants to use this picture on the right to elicit question structures from the students. The teacher wants the students to elicit potential questions to ask each other. There are some answers provided, so think about how can you encourage and create interest in the picture? How can you get your students to open up and create some questions? Well, the first thing that we could do is we could play a contextual understanding game. This way, we build up towards what we want and we make it a bit more fun and entertaining and interactive at the same time. This could be something competitive where we put them into teams and they can make vocabulary lists in their team by looking at the picture, seeing which team could come up with the most items of vocabulary. Or we could have a sentence creation game where they could do it in teams or individuals to see who can come up with the longest or maybe the most interesting sentence. These types of games will be based on your students' level and how well you know them. You know what types of games they enjoy. You know what types of games get them interested and motivated. So those are the types of games you want to focus on here at the beginning. Next, we could let them imagine situations and get creative. There are no wrong answers here. Let them discuss it amongst themselves, do some cooperative learning and discussion within their groups, and then let them tell the class or the teacher what they come up with. It can be easy sentences like, I think the cows are happy because, I think the lady is enjoying feeding the donkeys because, and so on. Give them points for imagination and for being creative. Finally, you would provide the answers for them on the board or on a piece of paper and get them into groups or pairs to elicit some questions out of them. Let them discuss it amongst themselves and use cooperative learning. Afterwards, you can discuss it with each group or individually, or even discuss it with the class. So here are some of the answers. What questions could you provide for these answers? Could there be multiple questions for each of the answers? Always think of it from your perspective first before you put it to the students. Okay, so I'll go through some questions to the answers for you just to give you some examples. I'm sure you can think of more. Please have a think and see if you can think of any others. For she is a farmer, obviously you could have what's her job or what is she? Very easy, very straightforward. For she is feeding her animals, there's quite a few different questions you could provide here. What is she doing? What is happening in the picture? What is the lady up to? What is the farmer up to? And you could just simply say, describe what is going on. All of these would be acceptable questions. The answer being there are donkeys and cows, you could have how many animals are there? What are they? What animals can you see? What type of animals can you see? And so on. For the answer, it is a cloudy day and there might be some rain too, you could have, what is the weather like? And try to encourage them to say longer questions if possible. What is the weather like in the picture? Describe the weather in the picture. What type of day is it in the picture?
For the older students, why not ask some follow-up questions? Look more closely at the picture and the details. Make them think more deeply about it. How do you know that she's a farmer? How can you tell that she's happy? What makes you think that she likes the animals? Get them to give you more details and information based on the picture, the body language, the clothes, the scenery. And you might be surprised about the answers that you get from them.
So in this example, the teacher wants to elicit specific words that are in the box and make the students use them in relation to the picture. The words are rice, to plant, by hand, bend down, and roads.
So here's a task for you. I want you to think about what questions that you could ask, and do they need some guidance? Is the picture obvious, or could you give them leading questions and maybe some hints? What other words could you get from the picture as well?
So the simplest way to elicit the correct responses that you're looking for would be to ask leading questions. So for number 1, rice, you would ask questions like, what do you think they're farming? And you could give clues like, this is a food commonly eaten in Asia. It's a white, small grain. It's a staple food in Asia. And you could expand on this point if you felt like they weren't getting it. For the second one, to plant, we could say, what do we call it when we put seeds in the ground? Or what are they doing? We could give them a clue and tell them the noun version of this word includes flowers, trees, and bushes. The third one, by hand, is how are the farmers planting the rice? And you can make it a bit silly. You can say, are they planting it by foot, by nose, by ears? No, they're planting it by hand. The fourth one, bend down, you would ask them, well, how are they standing? Are they standing up straight? And you could do some examples, miming here as well, actions. What would you call this position? The fifth one, rows, you could ask, are they standing in a circle? What's another word for line? Once you've asked these questions, using them in actions or other sentences or relating them to the student's life is all a good way to elicit more responses. Once you've got the ideas of the words and the vocabulary from the students, you want to get them to use it as much as possible in as many different ways as possible.